when you're on a long road trip with friends. There's always that one person who wants to tell scary stories. The question is, do you let them? Welcome back to my channel today. I'm going to be telling you 3 scary road trip stories that ended badly. If you want to hear more scary stories, stay tuned for more content. Let's get into it. 3. The Hitchhiker. It was around midnight, and we were driving home from a friend's birthday party. There were 5 of us in the car, all tired but excited to be heading home soon. Our driver decided to put the radio on just to pass the time when suddenly an ad came on. It said something along the lines of, "Are you alone? Do you feel like no one understands you? Are you searching for answers?" And then it started talking about some hotline or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was just really weird and out of place at the time. We all looked at each other awkwardly and tried to change the station, but every time our driver turned the radio dial, it would just go straight back to that same freaky ad. One of our friends joked and said, "Let's turn this off before it tries to contact me." It was the same voice from the ad, and it said, "Hello." We all screamed and turned to look at the back seat, thinking maybe someone had snuck in there while we weren't paying attention, but there was no one there. Naturally, everyone started freaking out. My friend, being the brave one, told the driver to pull over so that he could check the back seat and make sure we were alone. So the car came to a stop on the side of the road, and my friend slowly opened the back door. No one was in there. He even checked under the blanket in the middle, which used to fold down into a bed for any sleeping passengers. Still nothing. But as soon as he closed the door, the voice came over the radio again and said, "Don't trust him." My friend immediately ran to the front seat, and we all sped away from the side of the road. None of us have ever forgotten that terrifying moment when we heard that voice. Even now, years later, whenever any of us hear a strange noise or someone speaking unexpectedly, we'll all jump and scream bloody murder. I guess you could say that hitchhikers aren't the only ones thumbing rides on the highway. Sometimes it's the spirits. 2. Car trouble. I was driving home from a family vacation when this happened. My sister and I had been driving for hours, and we were starting to get pretty tired as we were approaching St. Louis, Missouri. My sister suggested that we stop for gas, food and souvenirs. We pulled off the exit and made our way to the gas station. We filled up the car, got some snacks and headed over to the gift shop. As we walked into the store, we noticed a sign that read, "Beware of dog." We didn't think much of it and continued browsing the aisles. Suddenly, my sister and I heard loud banging coming from behind the counter. We stopped to stare at the source of the commotion and saw a small black dog making its way out of a hole in the wall as soon as it saw us. It started growling and baring its teeth. My sister and I screamed and backed away from the counter. The dog kept growling and wouldn't let us leave the store. We were terrified and didn't know what to do. Finally, my sister called the police and explained the situation. When they arrived, they told us that the dog wasn't dangerous and that it had gotten loose. Also mentioned that the owner had already been fined several times for not keeping the dog properly secured. Once we were sure that we were safe, we got back in the car and drove off. However, the worst was yet to come. As we were driving down the highway, we started hearing strange noises coming from the back seat. At first, we thought it was just the wind, but then we started seeing the dog. It was sitting in the back seat staring at us with its eyes glowing red. My sister and I started screaming and swerved into another lane. When we finally managed to pull over, we got out of the car and checked the back seat, but the dog was gone. We were relieved, but also shaken by what had happened. To this day, we still do want to know if the dog was actually in the car or if it was just a figment of our imagination. Number 1. The Mannequin. One night, a group of friends and I were driving back from a weekend getaway. When this happened, we were exhausted and ready to go home after a long 2 days of hiking and camping. As we approached the town of Abilene, Texas, we started looking for a hotel to rest up before hitting the road again. We found a small motel off the highway and decided to call it a night. As we pulled into our room, I noticed a mannequin in the corner of the room. I didn't think anything of it and went to unpack. In the middle of the night, I was awoken by a loud crash. I sat up in bed and listened intently. Then I heard it again. Something heavy had been dropped. I told my friends about the sound, but they said they hadn't heard a thing. I decided to go back to sleep, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. A few hours later, I woke up again and decided to get up. As I walked toward the window, I saw the mannequin. It had been moved and was now standing next to the bed. I quickly backed away and ran to the bathroom. I locked myself in and waited for my friends to wake up. When they did, I told them about the mannequin and they laughed it off as my overactive imagination. However, when they went to check on the mannequin, it was gone. My friends and I searched the entire room, but we couldn't find it anywhere. We were starting to get freaked out, so we decided to check out early. As we were checking out, I noticed a pair of feet sticking out from under the bed. I screamed and backed away, but my friends were too busy laughing at me to notice. Little did we know that the mannequin had followed us that afternoon. We were hiking in Big Bend National Park when we decided to take a break and sit on some nearby rocks. As we were resting, my friends started talking about how strange the motel room was. Suddenly, the mannequin appeared in front of us. It was standing on top of the rock monolith and its eyes were glowing red. We screamed and ran away. We didn't stop running until we reached our car. Once we got home, we decided to never speak of the incident again. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.